Hi, welcome back to the studio. I'm here with CCP Fozzie and CCP Rise, as you all know. That was a cool match, another dominant performance by Warlords of the Deep, aka Hydra.
I would be really interested to see this setup that we've seen from a couple teams now, the Sleipnir, Curse, Stealth Bomber, Scimitar, that team, versus what we just saw out of Rampage.
Yeah, I do think that would be a really interesting
Curse
match.
would be devastating against those Inquisitors.
Yes, it would be very bad for them, but at the same time, that the Rampage team does have a giant wing of damage that they would have to be able to deal with, and it does have some logistics that's immune to all the Curse pressure because of the drones. So. Yeah. I don't know. I would be very curious to see that as well.
And we might get a chance to see it at some point.
Yeah, hopefully so.
So in a match where there's a Curse and there's a logistics, which one would you go for first?
Usually the logistics, I'd say, if you can catch it. I mean, it's usually not a question of they're both equally easy to catch. If you can get one or the other, then go for what you can in that case, because both of them are very juicy targets.
That is actually something that is hard to show, but it's very important in all these matches, is kind of the positional arrangement of the match. And it can seem very odd, the target choices sometimes, but it's because you simply don't have the option, either because of some kind of disruption or because of just being webbed somewhere. You can't get to the target you want, so you're forced to try to do what you can with whatever's close to you. And the good teams are really good at managing that. We do our best to kind of describe it when that's going on, but a lot of the time that can be hard to see.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to go read out a couple of tweets that we've gotten to the hashtag NEO2 hashtag, and we'll probably get that up on screen for you. One thing that did happen, we had a little bit of a problem with the tool during that last match, so we don't have after-match stats for you guys, but we'll try and work on that. So.
And when you say tool, you actually mean the wonderful piece of software that CCP Veritas has put together for us to help manage these tournaments. It's a big part of why we're able to keep schedules much better now and have a lot more cool information for everybody, which is fantastic. Hopefully, at some
so
point
everybody really extend your thanks out to CCP Veritas. He is the god of Eve, pretty much.
Controls all of time.
Yes, he is the time god of Eve, literally. Skatha says, more listening than watching to the hashtag NEO2, hand sanding and polishing the tomahawk head I've been working on. So, yeah.
You know, speaking of more listening than watching.
Crafting a dangerous weapon while watching internet spaceships, that's a pretty good thing.
That's great. It reminds me, though, yesterday, something crazy that Fozzie said. Yesterday when I did my kind of history of the Alliance tournament.
Yeah.
The part that was missing was I actually wasn't around Eve for the very beginning for like AT1, AT2. And one thing I didn't mention was that there was only radio broadcast of the first tournament.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah, it was Eve Radio, like CCP partner. That was actually before my time.
Apart from the final.
No, even the final wasn't broadcast. It was still like there was the live audio, and then they did a kind of a streaming thing sort of after the fact using a streaming service that Kriba put on. Yeah. But it was like just a custom stream setup that Kriba had developed for it or something.
It was live. It was through Kriba. I have CCP Locks in my ear just being really adamant that he did it first.
Yeah.
He's crazy about that. So
I'm still just imagining a radio only. Actually, saying that, we actually did only audio broadcasts of some of the first
prelims.
Yeah, some of the prelims for some of the early tournaments that I did. So it just sounds so crazy now.
Let's do the next match, only audio. Everybody at home, get ready. We're just gonna have a black screen.
It sounds like comedy, but it actually, it happened for AT1, and we did it for.
Does it work though?
Qualifiers.
Like, can you get a comprehensive idea what's happening?
You would need to be familiar with Eve.
Because if you're just saying like, oh, the Vigilant is dying over to the left, like it's
I mean, there's no over to the left. It's a lot of like.
No, I mean
just like now the HP's at 50%, now the HP's at 40%, now the HP's at 30%. I mean, you try to squeeze in.
It's like any sport, really. Like if you listen to a radio broadcast of baseball, if you don't know how to play baseball,
and everybody's still standing around, still standing around.
So here's the problem. We have this problem with Eve, and that is it happens in a three-dimensional space. So we have both like up and down and back and forth. So that's something that other sports don't deal with. So like positioning,
except like
every sport
in the real world.
No, like you don't really talk about when you're doing a radio broadcast. You don't say, and LeBron James just moved upwards towards the basket. Like you don't have to say that because that doesn't matter. So when it comes to just watching the Eve tournament, that is even hard because you need to have like relative positions and because of the distances are so great, it's really tough. So you can never accurately know what's happening in a match where like by audio only.
It is hard to describe. I think it worked all right. I mean, like like the guy here building his weapon and listening to it. In a way, you can easily like Fozzy's saying for other sports, you can let everybody know what's happening. I mean, you can say
if you're familiar with how the game is played and with tournaments, then all you have to say is, all right, so the curse is now applying its newts to this target, there's damage applied to this one, and you can figure out where all the stuff is going to be from that point. Again, it's like listening to
get lost a little bit.
It's like listening to a basketball broadcast. If you hear that so and so has passed it to so and so, you can kind of imagine where that probably is. That he's probably out there open somewhere. And
I mean, it's what's interesting in terms of the finer details getting lost in all the complexity is that's actually the case for our video broadcast as well. I think what would be really amazing for us that is the case for a lot of other games is if you can actually see what everybody is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the option to see what's actually happening on a pilot's ship. So, for instance, guessing whether or not a top rack has been overheated to the point of being lost, we actually don't completely know. There's so many finer details that the pilots are each dealing with and that the FC is dealing with that we don't actually have access to. And we make our best guesses. It's still really awesome to watch, but we've come a long way. But it'd be great to go even further in terms of being able to see the finer details of all of these matches.
But I have here more people that are doing other stuff while watching the NEO.
Great.
So I have here Heimdall of Asgard dual tabling some Texas Hold'em while watching the NEO, which is pretty good. Minna is watching the NEO while balancing the renter books. One is more fun than the other. So
the renter books, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
Minna was floored. I was in the CSM Skype downstairs before I came up here, and he could not believe there was vagabonds in the tournament. I was very surprised by that.
So I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of people multi-boxing out there, both watching the tournament and doing something else. If you are doing something else while watching the tournament, please let us know because it's
Unless
fun.
It's gross. Don't tell us if it's gross.
We've had people watching a symphony. We've had people creating weapons. We've had people balancing renter books. And,
it's actually a really good overview of what EVE players are like. Watching a symphony, making a weapon, and balancing renter books.
They probably do that all at the same time. They're just like, I'm polishing this tomahawk head while balancing the renter books and listening to a symphony and watching the NEO.
Yeah.
Sounds
perfect.
At that point, you'd definitely be disturbing it. Like, just get a power sander in the middle of the symphony.
But yeah, that's fun. So.
Yeah, keep talking to us. Community's continuing to be awesome. I was in Twitch chat downstairs before I came up, and it's pretty fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And so that hashtag is hashtag NEO2 in Roman numerals. I'm not monitoring the other with a number 2. But because we have a bit of a delay.
What is the next match?
The next match is the Satyrs of Raider.
Satyrs. I know how to pronounce that now.
Yeah,
great.
It's the Satyrs of Razor.
Yes.
Versus semicolon drop table user is my favorite name.
Best name. That's a joke from XKCD, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been around for a while before that, but yeah, XKCD had a pretty famous.
He created a comic where he named his son that, and then
Little Bobby Tables.
Yes. Yeah. That's pretty good. So I got the bands here in front of me. So the Satyrs of Razor banned the Armageddon and the Guardian, and semicolon drop table users banned the Dominics and the Ishtar.
The Guardian band's interesting considering there have been almost no Guardians in this tournament.
Probably, I think it's our first Guardian ban, and we may not have seen any Guardians at all.
I think we've seen one.
I feel like there's been maybe one, but certainly has not been more than one or two. Has not been popular at all.
I vaguely remember one.
Why is it that the Oneros is so much more popular than the Guardian?
It's a lot more mobile, which is a huge help in the tournament, and then more mid slots. So you can do things like fit ECCM and stuff like that. And the Guardian and the Basilisk are both not very common in the tournament. In normal PvP and normal PvE, they rely on cap transfers.
Right.
So they transfer cap with each other. We don't allow that in the New Eden Open.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Who do you, better way to phrase this, do you think the Satyrs of Razor have any chance against semicolon drop table users here?
I mean, a chance, sure, but I'd think semicolon drop table users.
This is the Shadow Cartel Outbreak team, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So both of those teams, neither one of them, these are, of course, alliances, former Alliance tournament teams, Shadow Cartel and Outbreak. Outbreak has gone very far in a tournament, fairly controversial tournament. Shadow Cartel made it like maybe to the quarterfinals or something like that.
That kind of
in
range,
the tournament with the Taluses, so they've done really well also. So a lot of tournament pedigree there. Satyrs of Razor, I don't know so much about.
Yeah, the satyrs of Razor. I will now say that correctly from now on. But this will also be our last match in the winners bracket for today.
Yeah.
So after this match, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to be fighting in the losers bracket, and every team that loses there is going to be knocked out of the tournament and lose their chance at winning part of that $25,000 purse.
Yeah.
Stakes are going to go up a lot. It's definitely worth noting. The website, I don't know if it's been fixed now, but for quite a while it was showing incorrect times for the second half of today. So we are going to be having the break after this next match. The times were showing that it wasn't going to be originally the times were showing the match number 25, Freeloaders Facebook at 1740. That's not correct. That's at 1820.
Yes. So the times are exactly the same as they were yesterday. Yeah. And the order of the matches is correct, but on the second day we have incorrect times because the break was not considered, and that was a simple oversight, and we apologize for any inconvenience caused by that.
Yes.
Good news is at least it's not the other way around. It would have been much worse if people showed up and oh, your match was 40 minutes ago. At least now it might show up a little bit early. But
is there any teams on the field yet? I noticed.
We are waiting for one player to reconnect, and then
I was just gonna.
Once that finishes, we should be completely ready. I kind of want to just throw out a quick shout out to Twitch chat, because those guys the guys in chat are always awesome. If you do not have an account on Twitch currently, then I definitely recommend you create one and join the party in the chat and talk to us, tell us what you think about it, discuss the matches, and so on.
And also,
yes,
you go, please.
Okay. And also, follow the CCP channel on Twitch for email notifications on when we go live, so you will never miss a single show.
Except apparently yesterday those emails went out right at the end of the broadcast, which is a little bit weird. Usually not the case, but
usually not the case.
Anyway,
we just wanted to remind you of what you missed.
Yes, we all had fun today without you.
Maybe it's Twitch plays Pokemon, messing with their server more.
What my also was going to be that if you're interested in streaming, if you feel inspired, for instance, by the We Hurt team this year that's gotten very into streaming, don't forget that we added Twitch integration to the client recently. So if you just want to try it out, maybe show something you're doing in game to your courtmates or something simple like that, there is actually just a button you can push pretty much. You need a Twitch account, but it's very easy to set up, and you can find that in the NEO2 and start streaming whatever you're doing and even anytime you want. So
yeah, and that's actually super cool, because we're one of the few games now on the PC that has this Twitch integration, where you don't need to do anything apart from click a button and you're streaming straight from your client.
Yep. It can be really nice. Of course, there's a lot of easy to get. If you want to be more serious about streaming, there's great software out there to take care of doing things like overlays and a lot of the more kind of complex functionality. But it was pretty easy for us to just use this API Twitch put together and or SDK, sorry, and just throw that into the client so that you can try it out without having to do any work really at all, which is nice for a lot of people. So have a look at that.
I mean, also, like if you're sitting at home, you're unsure what to do, you can always just go to Twitch, check out the Eve section, and see if there isn't somebody streaming, and then hop in there and potentially find him in space and fight him, or just enjoy watching him fly around and do something. Maybe you like HiSec and he's in 0-0 and you want to check out how the other half lives.
Eve actually has a really great streaming community. It's not like the most popular, to watch game on Twitch, so sometimes you don't notice it, but there's a lot of really good stuff you can see on there. You can learn how to do all kinds of things, from market trade to PvP to run incursions or anything like that.
Has the League of Legends streaming community beaten the Cena Thomas team in the New Eden Open? I think not.
I think not. But the match is ready, so let's get our predictions for this last match before the break. CCP Fozzie.
I think it's going to be semicolon drop table users.
Yes, of course, I agree.
I agree that Little Bobby Tables is going to take the victory in this one. Let's see if that's true.